Okay, good morning, everybody. We are at time, so we will get started. I'm going to run through a little overview of how today is going to work. And then during the practice session that just took place over the last 30 minutes or so, we already had some great questions about how the day is going to work. So I'll say a few words and then I will come to those questions as well. As I go through this, if you have questions of your own, there is a Q&A function. It is usually a button at the bottom of your screen on your Zoom interface. You can ask those questions. We have a number of co-hosts on from the HomeGauge team, and so they should be able to help you as we go through this. My name is Dax. I'm the marketing guy at HomeGauge. I've been with the team, probably about 12 months now. We have a couple of people just asking questions about getting their audio fixed, so I'm going to pause just for 30 seconds whilst we fix that. Delighted to see so many of you on so early. I appreciate, particularly for those of you that joined half an hour ago for the practice session. That was very early if you were on the West Coast. Okay, good. I think those problems are overcome. So let's get started. Hello, welcome to HomeGauge Together 2020. My name is Dax. I'm the marketing guy at HomeGauge. Today, I will be your compere. If everything goes well, then you will actually see very little of me. I will pop up in our product Q&A session in a few hours, and again for a session this afternoon in our marketing track. But otherwise, we have a great lineup of people from the HomeGauge team, as well as many guest speakers. We would like to express our collective and sincere gratitude to all of our speakers for giving up their time today to help us bring you a completely free conference. Obviously, we're all working under very difficult and unusual circumstances, and we ask for your patience and kindness if something does not operate perfectly today. We do have backup plans in place and people on standby in different places ready to jump in to operate behind the scenes if someone loses connection. But of course, even then, things can go wrong. I can tell you, I would have slept better last night if we were running this from a nice corporate office with connection redundancies, high-speed fiber cable, but instead you have my house and the houses of everyone else that you're going to be seeing presenting to you today. We have created a resource for you in case things go wrong and you need to check in on what's happening. The most important place you need to know about will be homegauge.com/together, which I'm sure many of you have already been to either to register or to look at the agenda. On this page is our agenda, and many of you will have already visited it. We have now added an important button that says updates. If you click this updates button, then if anything goes wrong today, we will post live commentary here. If any session time has to change, we will provide an update here and of course update the agenda as well. But if you're going into a session, something doesn't seem right, come back to this page, click updates, and that will give you any up-to-date news about what you need to know. So let's look at the day's content and how things are going to operate. First of all, we have 5 tracks. Some of them are going to be running in parallel. The first one is general, and that is the track that you are in now. So you have successfully signed into that. Then we have a product track, a training track, a marketing track, and an exclusive track for our Extra Care HomeGauge members. If you're not familiar with Extra Care, it's a HomeGauge service we offer our inspectors to help them add extra value to the buyers and realtors. And as those members will see today, we're also finding new ways to add value to their business. We've emailed those members access details. Today, we have close to 1,000 people joining us. Some are HomeGauge customers and some are not. And so we've provided programming and content for as many different types of people as possible. We've also had many inspectors, of course, register, but also other people from the industry, including realtors, mortgage brokers, etc. To keep things simple, up until 1 p.m., hopefully now you are seeing the screen scrolling for you. Message the team if you're not seeing anything through the Q&A function. Up until 1 p.m., which will be at the end of Kerry's session, making a new plan after you've been punched in the face, all of those sessions this morning will be in this room. You do not need to leave and you do not need to re-enter for the sessions this morning. If you want to leave at any time, you are more than welcome to. Simply quit out of Zoom and you'll be out of the session. When you want to come back, just to make sure, come and click the join session button that is next to the time that you are wanting to re-enter. After Kerry's session this afternoon, we'll then split off into parallel tracks. Each of those tracks has its own unique flavor of content and is designed for different people and what they want to get out of today. For today, I recommend you hop around between your favorite sessions and then you come back and view the recordings of the ones you missed next week when we post those. So for instance, you will see after 1 o'clock, Stuart Palm with what's going to be a very fascinating session will remain in this general track, as will Stephen Miller with overcoming obstacles to build your business. But you have the choice. At 1 o'clock, you could switch over and join Shanti in the training track, where Troy Thompson is going to do a sewer scope session first, and then you see content through to 5 p.m. Or you could jump over to the product track, where Mike Rogers, who you're going to meet in about 15 minutes, will be able to help you with product sessions. Chris Navin and myself will be doing marketing, and Lauren and Eric will be over in extra care, as well as some guest speakers from American Family who are going to be revealing some interesting data to those members. I have a few practical pieces of advice for you today. We are using Zoom, and they operate 2 different types of running these sorts of presentations. The first of those is called a webinar. Most of our sessions today will be in the webinar format, and you are in a webinar format meeting today. What that means is you get to sit around in your pajamas and really not have to worry about a thing. When you enter one of those sessions, you will automatically be muted and your video will be off. And in fact, you won't have an option to accidentally turn your video or audio on. You can, however, through that session, including this one, reach us by using the Q&A function, which usually is a button at the bottom of your screen in Zoom. One of our sessions, which is, I will show you on my screen here, which is the 1 p.m. in the general track with Stuart Palm. That is in a different format. That is using the more typical Zoom meeting function that you may have seen before, where lots of people's faces are on the screen. When you enter that session at 1 o'clock, your video and audio should be off by default, but please do check that. And you are able to turn on your audio and video to participate in Stuart's session. And he is looking for participation. And I can tell you it's going to be a very interesting session. So please be ready for that. I think you're going to enjoy it. In both session types, you will be able to type questions as you go through. And we've already had a bunch, and I see the team are answering those as I speak. I'm going to read a few of those out. For those of you who are still just joining us, that is a Q&A icon that you will find at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We're here for you today throughout the day, so please do ask questions. Each track has a host that operates in the background whilst our speakers are speaking, and so they should be able to answer your questions for you fairly quickly. If you have any major problems or want connecting to the team with a specific question, my email is just dax@homegauge.com. Great news is, unlike a real world conference, you can leave and enter rooms of this event as much as you want to. If you're enjoying a session, that's great. Stay along, use the Q&A function, ask questions, give the speaker some feedback. They'll always appreciate some encouragement. Or if the session you joined doesn't really seem for you, feel free to leave it and hop into another room. The speaker doesn't get notified, so it won't be a distraction you coming and going. So let's tackle some of the common questions that have been coming in this morning so that everybody's on the same page. The first question was, will anything presented here today be available on either YouTube or the HomeGauge website for later viewing? Simple answer to that is yes. Virtually all of the sessions are being recorded, and they will be made available sometime next week to you once we've had a chance to edit them. It will also be entirely free for you to access those videos as well. Another question we have is, do we have to rejoin every session? No, you do not. And in fact, the general track all the way up until 1 p.m., you can actually stay in this same room. You've already done everything you need to do. You can stay here all morning. You are more than welcome to leave any session and come back at any time though. If you do, just find the time slot that you're currently in and click the join session button for that one. Great question from David is, will there be continuing education credits for any of these sessions? Well, we've tried our best, David. Depending on what state you're in, Shansi can issue you with a certificate of participation, and that will work as credits in some states. Unfortunately, that does not apply to all states. If you're joining the training track, Shansi can address that for you directly. Is Extra Care only designed for an American audience at this time? Yes, at the moment it's just for American customers, home buyers and inspectors. Alden asked, what's a CMO? It basically means I'm the marketing guy, Alden. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Do we access from the HomeGauge homepage? For those of you that are joining now, then this web page you're currently seeing on the screen, which is homegauge.com/together, will really be your primary resource for any help and information today. And we did add this additional button called Updates that when you click it, it will give you any latest information you need to know. We're going to use that button throughout the day to tell you about any sessions that got postponed or cancelled or are running late, etc. Anything we need to communicate to you. Save us filling your inbox with updates during the day. Great question we had was, do I need to mute my phone during any session? No, during all of the webinars, when you join, your audio and video will be off and will remain off throughout the session. The only exception is the session at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Stuart, he is looking for participation. When you join that session, if you want to stay muted and your video off, just check that is how it is set. But apart from that, no other session can you make any sort of mistake about joining with audio or video. Daniel asked, what about prizes? So after me, Paul McIntyre and Shanti are coming up, and Shanti's going to tell you about prizes. And I have it confirmed, Shanti's going to give out the first of our prizes in that session. Bob asked, will background noise on my end be heard? No, Bob, you are muted. Thank you very much for checking in with us, though. We always do appreciate that. We had a question, how long have I been with HomeGauge? About a year. Tim, I see you are having some issues seeing the screen. Hopefully that has been set for you. And new question about recording. Yes, they will be recorded and available next week. Okay, so we're about up on my introductory time here. I think we've answered as many questions as we can there. Please do keep them coming. That Q&A function will be available to you throughout all of the sessions today, and we will help you out with those. For those of you just joining, we have people pouring in as I've been speaking. homegauge.com/together and click the update button. So that concludes our initial training session, which was 8:30 to 9, and we are now at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time.